kata, you've got to know that's one of the early on katas. They trace it into China. They trace that kata into China. They don't know how far back it goes. All I know is I did read some stuff. I read a book, and I was tracing Tai Chi. I mentioned that on my early on tapes. And I mentioned that I was tracing Tai Chi, and while I was tracing Tai Chi, going back 750 years to mapping the pressure points, I came across some moves, and I also heard them elsewhere from another individual. But I came across some, in my study, some writings out of China that say the name of the kata was, it didn't say that, it said there was a man named Han, H-A-N, Chi, C-H-I. Very common Chinese name. In all of China, it's like maybe Smith or Jones in this country. Very common Chinese name. And it mentioned a man named Han Chi who worked the pressure points in very short patterns, mainly going sideways. That's what I read. What does it tell you? It doesn't say that that was him, but separate book. In fact, it's a book right now out. I believe it's by Unique Publications. I don't want to mention the author, but because it doesn't matter. But he says in there that Nai, I circled it, it's a China book. In fact, maybe you've seen it. If you didn't, if you haven't, go look that up, because it says the Nai.
I read that yesterday.
Oh, did you? Did you see Nai? Means points. Han, Chi could mean the points of Han Chi. So a kata called Nai Han Chi would be the points of Han Chi. If I researched and made my own kata attacking your pressure points, I would call it the points of George Dillman, and then you would learn it, and you would be practicing attacking the pressure points. So when we attack the pressure points, we have various places to go in the body, and a lot of movements that are snapping or snapping type motions in the body. A kata opens up, which you don't have to know, but I'm going to show you how to do it, then we're going to get up and practice it. Then we're going to work the move against each other, sit down, we'll do the next move, do the next move, but then I'm going to show you different areas to attack that are on my Nahanchi videotape. And we'll take you a little deeper, but it gets a little more detailed or deadly, a little more dangerous. So some of the moves we're going to show you, we'll do them, but you'd have to watch doing them on somebody because there can be injury. And I'll explain why, and if you have any common sense at all, you'll know why and see it right there that that would hurt. When you do the opening move and you come here, that is representative of someone pushing you. And you're trapping with the hands against you to put him down there. If you can pull, if you've seen my Nahanchi tape, I pull the little finger. If you can pull anyone's little finger back here, he becomes more vulnerable on what we call the heart meridian or heart points. So you try to get the little finger back. And I explain to people that the little finger is important for women, that they should know this, for throat grabs. If someone, here, stand up. If he grabs me by the throat and grabs you by the throat, you can always peel the little finger to this position and put him down. Always. And go either way. The weakness in the hand, and I'm telling you that because a lot of that is representative in the hanchi. The little finger, you have a positive and negative electricity right here at the hand. In fact, if we're talking about electrical points, this is what we talk about as being one of the weakest places in the body. Not the groin, but here, because the positive electricity on this side, there is a negative electricity back here. If it were possible for you to squeeze them together, the person is supposed to die. There's no way we know that. But I read it's impossible to squeeze them together. But the threat of them getting together is what causes the person to go down. This is also the small intestine meridian on this side. And the small intestine meridian comes up in through the neck. So in the kata Nahanchi, when I attack, I'm attacking the neck. But I have other places to attack I'm going to show you today in addition to. I let my hand fold just a touch. It is my belief, even though I've heard it from other people, but it is my belief that the old masters would punch the makiwara to develop these two knuckles, not to punch you, which you might or might not be able to take, but to let those two knuckles sneak into that hole. Understand? To get into that hole for the attack. I've had seminars with people, and there are several styles. Well, there are several styles to start that kind of going right and going left. It doesn't matter which way you go because you repeat it twice. You repeat going both ways. But there are several styles that do the move and come out with a back fist. You probably have seen that. There is another style that does it and does it with a ridge hand. You probably have seen that. Then our particular style does it with the whole back of the hand. If you know anything about the people that created the style, the man that does it with the back fist was a tiny little master working on the kata. And you would use the attack that your hand was capable of doing on your opponent. Now, under today's way of thinking, everyone in this karate school has to do the kata the way I've taught it. You have to go like that. But how about the young lady or the littler person that has a little frail hand that could do this all day long and nothing would happen? They have to do the kata the way it was taught because everything is run like the military. Can't be any deviation. Well, they have to learn that the master that did this had the tiny little fist, and when he did this, he tried to get his two knuckles with the fist to hit the same two pressure points in this hole. He struck with the same move of the kata. The one style that does the kata with this, the master is a little bigger person. He's stronger, and he has a beautiful ridge hand. So he does the kata, and he strikes you in that same area, and he uses a ridge hand. So what I'm saying in essence, if I were to teach you all the kata, or you didn't even know it, you might have to adjust for that strike to do it properly. And then under most karate schools you can't, because this is the military and everybody has to do the move the same. You can't do anything else. But you can take it in consideration that when you're home alone, if you have a tiny little hand, to hit him with a ridge hand or hit him with the knuckles in that area. And that's why you'll see Nahanchi go a ridge hand, fist, or open hand. The people that do Nahanchi, my style, have a bigger hand. I have a bigger hand. I have nice knuckles, so I did not have to switch that kata. But if I had a tinier hand, my kata would have the knuckle version. But I can get away with striking in that kata, as you see on the tape, with my hand in this position, which lets the energy coming down and back both strike up in that area after trapping the person. That makes sense? If you want to test it, you can sit down. If you want to test the striking, you can strike low on the neck, above the sternocleidomastoid muscle, or you can strike high in the neck, just in the ear hole. The muscle that we're talking about, let me use you. The muscle that we're talking about goes from the base of everyone's skull, and it joins the tip of everyone's collarbone. So when I talk about reading body anatomy, I can look at you and know where you need struck. If you have a long neck that muscle's usually more like this. If it's a fatter neck, the muscle will have more of this tilt. Little tiny neck, sometimes real short, the muscle's almost straight up and down. I was not getting several of the techniques to work on one of my shorter instructors because the muscle was almost straight up and down and I was still doing the technique the same as in the qoute. That's good for 80% of the people. 80% of the people, the muscle lies exactly on this angle and attacking these two pressure points or these two pressure points, you can do with the knuckles as a fist, as a backhand, or as a ridge hand. To test it, and I might have you try this on each other. You play with this. Turn around here. Two knuckles. Take these two knuckles. These two knuckles. Place them right on top of the mastoid muscle. Relax and just put this down like this. Now turn here because I'm just going to tap. Put your feet together. And I just want you to watch the eyes because like a blind that goes shut with the tap. The two pressure points are right along the outside of the muscle. There are never any pressure points on the muscle, out on the muscle that we use. The muscle's there to protect. The nerve is exposed here. I'm on his two right now. I play with it by putting someone's hand, their own hand, on there, letting it out like this. And I tap with a ridge hand. And you'll see the buzz go up, and you see the eyes fold. You just tap with it. And when you do it light. A ridge hand is the best way to deliver your energy. The best way to deliver your energy. Because the energy coming like this comes out. You can hit harder with the ridge hand than you can any other way. If you really ridge-handed without his hand there, you get full effect on that strike. Now, I just tapped him. Here, you come here. Put your feet together. Sternocleidoid goes here. The two pressure points are here. If I make a ridge hand, this knuckle and that knuckle go on those two pressure points. There's a qoute that goes like this. What's the secret in that qoute? Yes, but in and down, the angle and direction. That guy I just tapped to show you the effect. I take these two knuckles and put them here. And just keep it against, because I'm only going to tap. And we're going to add the in and down. All right? Do you see the eyes, though? And you see the effect? And he's a big, strong guy. That's the effect and the angle and direction. If you want to play with it, which I'm going to give you a second to do, if you want to do it on each other, you do it mild, though. And you do it in their hand. I was actually at a seminar, and some wise joker said, he can't knock me out now. And I drilled him right through his hand, didn't I? Because the people that'll do that will go like this. They really won't go like that because that would hurt them. Then knuckle them right there, and you'll get the pressure point too, and their whole hand will go out on them. You knuckle them right at the pressure point, you know, at the ring finger. You understand what I mean? So if they go like that, hit them on that point, and they'll fold like this, and it's all over too. So they can't protect. But when they go like this, and they be a wise guy, knock it right in, but just make sure that you add the in and down. If you're missing the in and down, it doesn't do the same. He stands there and looks at you. You need that. in and down. We're going to get up. You're going to pair up. I don't want anybody getting carried away. And then don't, you people, I just did it too, don't you get involved yet in this, because we don't want too many shots at you on the same side. Do that. Make sure the thumb's straight, only so you don't injure it. If his thumb was like that and I reach hand, I'm liable to sprain the knuckle on him. So you make sure all of this is straight. I'm not going to redo it because he was hit. I take in, I hit, so that I'm concentrating on those two knuckles to strike into the points. A lot of times I use that to prove that they're the 2 points. And by the way, that's only 2 points, and you've seen the result. If we really wanted to make him go out on that, which I did not want since there was no catcher, I would have done what? I would have somehow tapped or did something to this arm and then put him here and went boom, and then you would see a much fuller effect. So I want you to get up and play with that on each other very lightly. Here. Here. Many meanings of that move. The gentleman sitting here come up with almost the same meaning as Ron Richards. And that's funny because they didn't even know each other was doing it. But Ron, you hit him behind the head on this. On the gallbladder points. He was hitting him behind the head on the bladder points because the hands are coming in from that way to do it. So, I mean, you can come up with your own meaning. That's the good part of doing pressure points in kata. You do not have to have the same meaning as I do. It just has to be a real meaning that you can use in the street. When I go out and teach an advanced seminar, you can show me the move you have in a kata. The only thing I want to know at that point is, can you use it out there? You understand? I can use mine out there. Can you use yours? Some people come up and they put so much complication that you couldn't use it. It looks good, but you couldn't use it out there. And they come up to me, if I touch here, hit here, touch there, and feel that, and hit him with that, will he go out? Yeah. But where are you going to get all that in out there? I do a lot of moves, and you know, on the top of the arm. The top of the arm. And this is the radial nerve. And I put a lot of attention on radial nerve study because I am making my art a knockout art. If you haven't seen it at the seminars or seen it on my tapes, but I'm sure you've been there where I've knocked people out on the arm alone. That's on the radial nerve. The pressure points in the radial nerve exist. There's some people out there that put a lot of study. One of the people that I was studying under, I'm not going to mention the names, but the one person I was studying under puts his attention on the ulnar nerve. That's the heart nerve. That's the heart nerve. And he does knockouts from underneath. I have pictures of me being knocked out right on the heart point. Grab the heart point, hit on the heart point. Knocked out. The doctor who is in on my study from Richmond, Virginia, come up to me the one time he did it and said, you just had a physical. Because this Oriental master knocked me out under here. He said, you just had a physical. I said, I did why? He says, because he put you out on a heart nerve, and he said, if you'd have had a weak heart, which he don't know, he could pop a blood vessel, he could cause a clot with the electrical shock, he could cause damage. You understand? I know that. And I know how to hit under there. And I know how to use the ulnar nerve. But to hit under there is a lot more difficult in a real fight. That's real good in a seminar, because you do have a guy stand there with his arm out. But can't you at a seminar or a real fight, isn't it easier to hit him on top of his arm? You bet. Than coming up from underneath. Besides, you come up quick. If this man grabs me in a self-defense situation, coming up from underneath, even if it worked, where does it put his hands on top of mine? Even if I did it and it worked, whose hands are on top? Now whose hands are on top? My hands are on top. I put a lot of study into radial nerve attacking because it's the easiest to get to and the least problem with his health. because this is the lung meridian. You have two lungs. I have been to seminars. In fact, one of my instructors, Ron Richards, was with me. We had a seminar in Indiana, and a man had smoked some marijuana, and I hit him on the lung meridian. We didn't know he smoked the marijuana. Hit him on the lung meridian. The guy passed out, and I woke him up, and Ron Richards came over to do revival for me, and I leaned down, and Ron Richards said to me, "What does that tell you?" Well, I knew immediately the man was on some drugs because I wasn't knocking him out. If I hit you and I'm not knocking you out, I know it. But if I know it, as I told you earlier, when you knock somebody out, it has to be with full intent. You can't be holding back. And I wasn't doing the knockout on this man. I just tapped him on there, and he passes out. And we knew immediately that something was wrong. One of his lungs closed down. He was like this. And I re-smacked him on the arm. It started it. Am I right or wrong? And one of the instructors came over and said, "That man smokes marijuana a lot." And I got the guy aside, and he said to me, I said to him, "You smoke marijuana?" And I said, "Don't lie." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Actually, I was really nervous coming to your seminar," and he smoked one on the way to the seminar, and I hit him on the lung meridian, and he passed out. And I told him, I said, "I wasn't supposed to knock you out." I said, "Thanks for making me look so good." Because, I mean, I just barely went like this. The guy's passing out all over the floor. Almost couldn't bring him back. Real serious thing on just the lung meridian. But the lung meridian is safe to work on with students. You can't be beating on the heart meridian. You can, but if this guy has a bad heart, it's getting electrical shock. It's getting electrical shock. The lung meridian's always available. It's available for all of these moves for attacks. Any move you're doing, it's available for attacks. So I put a lot of study up top. I understand this down here also. And I have study down there too. But the chance of injury is great down there. And I use a lot of hard points that you know from my other seminars. In fact, we're going to use 2 hard points right now. When you connect with what I'm going to do I had you put the hand here. You can also put the hand up here, by the way, and do the same thing. You can put his knuckles in this hole. And just make sure the 2 knuckles are right here. Now, it all depends on the shape of the guy's jaw. He has enough opening that'll get in, but you have to watch the jawbone doesn't interfere with his own 2 knuckles if you do it. But if I get in there with my 2 knuckles, it's going to work. When a guy pushes at you, we trap and we step. The minute I trap this little finger, I am trapping and pulling on the heart meridian. If I really want to get the heart point, I pinch halfway between the fingernail and the first joint. And I'm truly on a very vulnerable heart point. Ask an acupuncturist. And if I put pressure on this point, he already starts to go, and the next move in the kata is to cross, to transfer my energy and lock it down, and as I step out, to bring it with the attack, I lock, and as I come out, I must come out to here. If I hit him to here, that's all I get to there. But I gotta strike as if I didn't mean it, or didn't care. And that's why the kata brings the move all the way out to here. That doesn't mean that's where your opponent will be. It means he's here, and you got to strike as if you were continuing to there. And the part that you practice in your school is the pushing, to trap. Just pin him against you. Everyone knows that if you pin somebody's hand and go like this, that he will go down. But he can also hit you with that hand. But if you touch the little finger and cross your feet, he cannot hit you with that other hand. Can you hit with that other hand? He can't get that other hand to fire off. And at this point, then he would get hit with this, or this, depending on whatever style you would do that kata with. So everybody can't all do the same kata. It depends on your hand and the size of your hand. I'm going to have you pair off, and I want you to just practice one and 2 hand pushing, and I want you to just trap. Get used to trapping before you do the stepping. When he pushes, I just want to trap. I just want to trap. Push. I want to do the trap. I want to do the trap. Then practice the step. Then practice the step. Get the trap. If you can't trap him, why do the step? Then practice the little finger and do the step. And then simulate. Don't want you to hit it. Just get to here and simulate. Try that on each other. When you use or do any self-defense, it doesn't have to be out as kata. But when I take a kata move, I try to figure out exactly as I'm doing it in the kata. You understand? I don't make up a kata move for this and then do something different. If I'm doing the technique on you and it doesn't look like the kata, that's you wouldn't understand it. You wouldn't do it. If I communicate with my high belts with kata, if I show a move in a kata and they know the kata, they go out remembering the move. At an earlier seminar, I taught a guy what this was for, the strike and the fist was for. He knows the kata with that in. Everybody in the room, we worked on it, but everybody in the room will forget what that was for within 2 weeks. If I go here and show you a self-defense technique, and you do it over and over, you'll say, that's a good self-defense technique. Wow, I really like it. If you ain't practicing it, within the next 2 weeks, it'll fade away. But the next time you got up to do a kata and went like this, it would come back. And that's how we communicate. That's why kata is so valuable. Any self-defense technique you learn, if you go like this, you not only lower your center of gravity, but you take your energy and you root it down. You down root it. You've been there for people's experiments where you try to pick them up and you can, and they root down and you can't. You understand? In fact, we had one demonstration here on that. When you cross, you root down. You root your energy. You quick throw it down. Whatever self-defense technique, I don't care if it's the cross hands, the grab the finger, any one of the nerve techniques, if I grab you on a pressure point and I go like that, you'll go lower than if I stand here doing it with my hand alone. It's almost like the theory of picking up a heavy package, keep your back straight and use your legs rather than your back. Same theory, only we reverse it, we put it in. If I grab this man in a technique, and it's even a finger technique, he feels that. But if I cross the leg, he goes down because I root down. I root the technique and my energy drives down and I send it down. So whatever technique you are working on anywhere else, experiment with that. Experiment by just doing that and that. If you can cross and lock the calves, it's better. Now, I explained to you, some of you know a little bit about meridians. If you know about the meridians, you will know that the heart meridian comes up through the face. That's what I was talking to Mr. Clapp about. The nerve that I told you 1/3 up that we attack. And by the way, on a long neck person, I told you to attack here or here. That small intestine meridian. It's also a fire meridian because it's right in with the heart. So you have the 2 points on the small intestine, you have the 2 points directly heart related. Very similar once you grab that small finger. Once I grab that small finger and crank this is when anatomy, you look at the person, a split second you can decide, is his neck this short or this long? On a long neck person like a giraffe, you could use either. So if a person has a long neck, you pin his hand, you can take him out on the upper 2 or the lower 2. You just have to decide immediately, within a split second, and fire where to go, and that takes practice. Upper, lower. The heart meridian, a lot of books don't tell you that, but there are a few that will show you that the heart meridian comes over and goes up through the face. Right or wrong? Has anybody seen that? If you haven't, then it comes right up to the eye. Right up to the bottom of the eye. If you don't know that, now you do. So the heart channel comes over and goes up. The heart meridian deep passes through here. That is the Herring's nerve that connects to the vagus nerve and goes straight to the heart. It reads the brain and the heart, and by messing with the Herring's nerve, you send a message straight to the heart. The heart meridian comes up through here. It goes deep, right about here. That's where the hollow pocket is I sent you in after. This hollow pocket is where you'll catch that nerve deep. Here, it's on top of the muscle. The first third. It's on top of the muscle. Now it goes deep, and it goes up through here, and you're really playing with it a little bit when you do this to people, but it passes straight through here, and it ends at the eye. And if you were at another seminar, when I show you how to use that knuckle to attack that hole, I think you've been to that seminar. If you haven't, I have that on videotape. But if I punch this man in the face, which everybody does, I don't get a result. If I punch him like that, in there, I'm going to get a result. And if I twist it that way, you're going to see him, the lights go out and strike. And if I grabbed the little finger and did it, there's a chance of serious injury. Because I'm at two pretty far extremes on the heart. But you have the heart going deep. That's why you've got to go deep with that punch. You have the heart ending up here. On one of the tapes, I mentioned that Orientals are very weak here, especially if they are smooth here. Because when they are smooth here, this bone that you have here is here. It protrudes. You'll see it knuckle out. And the heart meridian ends in the center of that bone. And that's where a lot of down strikes are for in kata. When you go like this in Nahanchi, you can be striking down on that particular, at the end of the heart point. And in Nahanchi, the kata, all the moves fit together. Now the vulnerable areas to attack. If you know anything about the meridians, the heart line, the triple warmer, dangerous spots to attack in the Hanchi. I didn't put them on my other videotape because they're a little too dangerous. You're watching the video and you go wham somebody to see how it does. He could die or be blinded. Right here on the eye, right here on the eye, is possibly one of the easiest bones to break in the human body. It is, and he's nodding his head yes, by the way, because he's a medical person. Does medical work down in Miami. It's Tom Columbano. He's been studying, he was a jiu-jitsu practitioner and studying the pressure point, Aikido, right? Aikido. And doing the pressure points and putting them into what he does and been following us around, has the video, studies, and when I get down there, I give him, work with him privately so he understands it. But right where my thumb knuckle is one of the easiest bones to break because it is very hollow and brittle right there, right here. If that bone is broken, it will break into the eye, and because the temple is soft, it is one of the easiest bones to break at that section, and it will break downward into the eye and blind the person, probably for life. Kata Nahanchi does that. Kata Nahanchi does that, doesn't it? If you know the kata, you'll go here, and you'll go here. The strike, one of the ways that it was taught to me was there. Now, I show you other places because they're not as dangerous, just as dangerous. And you really can't practice it. I could tap him and you'll see he'll almost pass out. And if I really hit him, he's going to pass out. That's to break into the eye. Now, if you know anything about meridians, and Mike, you do, what meridian ends right here? Triple warmer.
Triple warmer and gallbladder.
That's right, but triple warmer is really, no, the gallbladder is up here, it comes around.
That's where it goes deep.
The triple warmer is right here at the corner of the eye. What do you think would happen if I come off the triple warmer, and crank up into just there? Understand what I'm saying? You know he's going to pass out. Now there's no, people say, well, oh, I don't know, you have to do it to me. Well, I do it to you elsewhere. You have to believe the theory to know that is going to do to the person. And then get an anatomy book and look at the bone the way it lays in there. And you know that the strike is down in this way. That's the movement in the kata, striking on this side. And for the other side, the hand is aimed this way. So kata nahanchi, the hand is palm up and palm down to show that you're striking, and you're striking, depending which side would be to him. And you come off the back of the arm, and you are to strike in there. Just the up punch in the hanchi. Do you like that one? It's pretty good, ain't it? I don't want to do that again. That's good. For us, not Orientals, there's some Orientals here, so we whip them a different way. Yes? Put your hand down, Fraser. This bone is very vulnerable. Right at the indent is the supraorbital nerve that crosses through here and goes right into the cranial nervous system. It takes the message. You ever see somebody has a good roof out over their eye, like a little porch there? I don't see anyone here today really bad, but you'll see somewhere it comes out, like Frankenstein, comes out and goes up. My family will tell you that we had one man with a real good roof. He was 6 foot something, and I actually went like that and knocked him out. In other words, the further out this roof comes, the more vulnerable on that nerve. When, close your eyes so don't hit your eye. When I do that and get a reaction, that was a better one. When I do this, close your eye, and get a reaction, then I feel it this way. You got a good roof. You see the jump? Bigger roof, better reaction. I get my reaction from people, and if a person had a heavy roof like that, this is where I'd hit him in the hanchi. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that that's going to injure him. Ask your doctor about the nerve that comes through here, connects to the cranial nervous system, and ask what driving that electricity up into the brain could possibly do. That's the question I asked one heart doctor, and he said, why would you want to do that to somebody? And I said, that ain't the half of it. I study this. I do this all over. But let's take a self-defense situation, and let's say he's grabbing me with two hands, or whatever, and I grab, and I hit off the arm, and up into there, or I can come off the triple warmer into there, or I can come off the heart, small intestine side into here. Into here. So when I pull off this move, I can also do this move right there and get an effect you won't believe if I do it with the knuckles and lay a knuckle right in there. When I do any moves that go like this or like this in a kata, I would be striking under here. Under that bone, up in and towards the brain is the angle and direction, and it's going to drop the person without the arm set up. With the arm set up, it's going to do serious damage. Now, do you know how to break someone's nose? You do not do it that way. You do it that way. You do it that way. There's a pressure point here. There's a pressure point right where the gristle meets the bone. And there's a pressure point on this side of the gristle. You have 1, 2, 3. First of all, if you strike this pressure point, that direction, this one, that direction. It's where the gristle meets the bone, it's here. Actually, that nerve ties into that eye, and that one into that eye. If you watch the eye, you see his eye go shut, and that eye, that one only responds. That eye will go shut on him. And this eye the same way, that way. Can't do it with my left eye to do it that way. People teach people to strike up under the nose. They learned that with up moves in kata because no one showed them to attack the Herring's nerve. No one showed them to attack the supraorbital nerve. They didn't show them the right angle and direction and or the proper nerve, so they attacked under there. The nerves under the nose are aimed that direction. Look at a nerve chart. I tried to get a big one in time to come here. I just got one down in Jacksonville, Florida. They're mailing it to me because they get me one with the head like you wouldn't believe, with the nerves like roots everywhere. If you can cup your hand with a downward strike that you can fold over the nose, this is a knockout move. Dropping down is a knockout move. I have a kata that goes like this, and this will put the person away. It'll also separate the gristle from the nose. In other words, I'm knocking it the direction I want. If I want to break his nose, I don't do any of the moves that you think in a kata, and I don't do that. That's for under there. But if I want to break the nose, I do that. Isn't that in the hanchi also? In other words, when you see me go like this, or you see somebody do a kata, if he doesn't know where to strike, that's his tough luck. When I do just this move in a kata, the word focus in kata does not mean to focus your hand to the center. Focus doesn't mean this. Focus means that I know in my mind where I'm attacking, and every time I do the kata, I can go like this and it looks like the same move. I have a different place that I would hit you based on availability, based on your position. Did you turn your head? I'll hit you at that one. Is your head facing me? I'll hit you on that one. You have a big nose? We'll take it across your face. If a person's got a big nose, we're going to wipe it across his face with that, where if you punch him in the nose, you might or might not break it. You hit it that way. You hit it that way, I guarantee you, you will break it. And you'll fire up the nerves at the same time. Starting to make sense? Yes. Now, I got you because you're nice and big. I'm not picking on you. Men with a nice big Adam's apple. His is not that big. Donahue's pulling us up in. By the way, Phil Donahue is here. He's not videotaping, but he's here. Everybody give Phil Donahue a round of applause. Anyways, first on in karate, I was told to do this, to strike. None of the moves are straight in. You've been to enough of my seminars that you know we do not attack straight in. But if I want to injure your throat, and if you want to injure an opponent's throat, you will strike it that way. You will strike it that way. You will all feel it if I just did this. Feel it? Mm-hmm. You don't want it any harder than that, do you? No. You'll feel it almost dislocate. In other words, striking side to side will dislocate that. It'll dislocate and put the Adam's apple over into that hollow pocket. I showed you that this is hollow. That's hollow. Behind the Adam's apple is a throat that acts as an airbag. You can punch somebody head on and he might not be able to talk, but he'll be able to fight. if you hit him like this, he will not be able to hold his head up. Because this, you see it moving? You are to come into, with that knuckle, into the hollow pocket and strike like that. You are to come in from the other side and strike like that. Look. Look. When we're finished the videotaping, I want to do that to each of you. I want you to feel that. I don't want you doing it to each other because that is easy to dislocate. You'll feel when I do that. Do you feel that almost dislocating?
Yes.
Yes. And you don't want me to hit it, right?
No.
And you certainly don't want me to hit it over this way?
No.
No. So now, when I do just a simple move into kata, how about if I kicked you there and struck that? Because you're going to be leaning, that'll stretch. How about if I strike that? How about if I strike that? How about if one time when I do the kata, I'm thinking of that? How about another time I'm alone doing the kata and I'm thinking of the nose? How about another time I'm doing the kata, I'm thinking of the triple warmer? How about another time I'm doing the kata, I'm thinking behind the jaw, back to front? That's on my other videotape on the hanchi. And you all know, if you don't know, that if I strike back to front, it will dislocate the jaw and knock you out. How about if I'm behind the head and I strike you on the gallbladder, 20, and strike in with that knuckle? So, in other words, when I go like this in the kata, if somebody says to me, what is the meaning of that? It would depend on how much I would want to give you on just that, those two moves. How about when I strike with the open hand? Or said you could do it with the ridge hand or this. How about if they are to the nose that way? How about if he's a long neck individual, like this man, step out real quick. But he has a nice long neck. This is really predominant. How about if I open hand there? Look at this. You see what would happen? You feel it? You would not want that hit that direction. That is the way to take it out. I can actually dislocate it like this. Some of the Chinese teach it this way. They would do it that way and poke it right out. You won't hold your head up so the fight's over. You'll be gasping. You might not breathe at all, or you'll be gasping for air, or the windpipe closes down. It swells up in there, and the guy's going to die. You'd have to do a tracheotomy if you wanted to save him, if you did it hard. These are the most meaningful moves. Just explaining this, that I couldn't put on a tape that you're selling to children or whoever might get it. And it takes you deeper and deeper and deeper in the study of kata. Everybody like that?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Up and bow. Kata nahanchi. Anytime you do the kata move, it takes into consideration pressure points, angle and direction. I got one here. Look. This is a big guy. This guy's 260 pounds. Okay? You people earn the arm points today, right? Yes? Yes, sir. If I just touch this arm point, what is this? Positive. Is this positive? Yes? What is this? Negative. What is this? Negative. It's negative. What is that? How many people do an augmented block? How many people do that? You have a kata, you go like this. Everybody knows how you know. Sure. And they tell you augmented block. I tell you on my videotape that doesn't augment anything. I tell you on my videotape they call that an augmented block. And I make a little joke. I say, run out and look that up in your Funk and Wagner. That's a dictionary. Everybody thinks that this isn't dirt. It's a dictionary. Funk and Wagner. Augmented block. Augment means to help. It ain't helping anything out here. But if I touch this point with negative on the positive part of the arm, and I touch that point with negative on the positive side of the face, doesn't that look like an augmented block? Yes? Yes. And the two short him out. This is a 260-pound guy. I did this to him last week, and he said it was okay to do it this week, because this makes it as clear as not that these are not blocks. You got to keep your jaw shut. I'm going to lock with this augmented block. Oh! Come back. Come right here. See the size of those pupils? Okay, you just sit there, man. That's one of Dan's students, right, Dan? Give him a round of applause. Dan sat down, he was honest with me. And he said, before this came along, he said, I had questions, man, a lot of questions before you came along. Didn't you tell me that 1 week ago? After the seminar. He has this guy, he has another student bigger than him yet. That guy's big this way and this way. And Dan said, I realized my sports stuff wouldn't work when I started sparring those two big guys, and I was saying, well, I scored a point on you. And they were going, well, yeah. And Dan would say, I held back. If I would have unleashed my power, so we will count that as 1 point. They'd go, yes, Sensei, that's 1 point. But Dan said he knew it wouldn't work with a lot of the stuff he was doing. And then that's why he became one of my biggest followers. He's been all over the country flying to learn this, has my videotapes. He's even teaching other people over in Idaho how to do it. And you have a lot to thank him for that I'm here today. So give Dan a question. And I'm speaking how I get up with intensity. Yeah. Because I'm really excited now. And I dropped the biggest guy there. And I'm walking around lecturing to the black belts. And I says, I don't care what you do in karate. I says, everything, every part of you is a weapon. Everything can be used as a weapon. And I walked up to this guy, he was bigger than you, yeah. He's a big, heavy guy. And he had a little pot belly sticking out. So, and I go up and I says, everything you got. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's your hands, your feet, your elbows. They can be used in a tuite, they can be used as a weapon. And I stepped up to this guy, and he thought he was, no. He's going. He thought he was getting it. And this guy was like this. Yeah. And I went up to him and I went,